Hi everybody! Today we're going to make some dragon's blood soap. Now I've made this several times before because it is one of our top sellers, but I had to switch fragrance oils. We just went through getting Leaping Bunny certified, which means not only do we say we're cruelty free, we make sure that we use suppliers that say they're cruelty free. And we were using the Dragon's Blood from Bulk Apothecary, but they apparently refused to sign the cruelty-free agreement. So we had to drop them as a vendor, which was no big deal. So I'm using a new fragrance oil. I do know that there's some patchouli in this fragrance oil, which tends to discolor, so I've kind of worked with the colors there. But without further ado, let's go make some soap. First thing we're going to do is pour our lye water into our oils. We're going to give this a quick buzz. And I just want to mix this up enough to where it's emulsified. That's good. Set this over here. And I am a messy maker, so I always tend to cover my table with a little paper now. So we'll pour the majority of the batter off over here because the patchouli in the dragon's blood will discolor. So we want the majority of it in our darker color. And then we have our accent colors. I've got some titanium dioxide in one and some silver with some titanium dioxide in the second one. Scrape out my big bucket here because I won't be using it again. Sorry if all you can see is the... Okay, I will set that to the side because we'll no longer need it. Now all I'm doing here is just scraping up the micas that are on the bottom. Get that good and incorporated, and we'll give that a quick whiz with our stick blender, but you want to go lightest to darkest, so we'll do this one last. And our silver. Now this silver is from Nurture's, oh wait. This silver is Celestial Silver from Nurture Soap. I put a touch of titanium dioxide in there just to kind of anchor it a little bit. Oh my goodness, where's my, here we go. Spatula. And this is just a little bit of titanium dioxide in warm water. Now this one won't get any fragrance oil whatsoever because of the discoloration. And neither will the silver, but the fragrance oil will go in here. Now I think, there we go. We'll get the colors blended up here. I still have not added my fragrance oil just in case it accelerates. It's so hard to get the bubbles out of the stick blender when you're using these smaller containers, but we'll get there. And finally my black. It's been a while since I've shot a video, and I am forgetting to just do some of the basic steps I usually do, but we'll be alright. I am soaping at about 100 degrees, right around in there. I like to soap a little bit cooler, but my shop's going to be opening soon, so I really need to get this done and into the mold, because it's really hard to make soap when you have customers. You know, you run the risk of it seizing up on you, and then, you know, nobody wants to waste all those ingredients. Okay. So I'm going to set this aside. Oop, I am making a mess here. This is the 5-pound mold from Nurture Soap. And I have just taken a little bit of Crisco along the edges where it kind of, you know, does the little warpy. And it kind of sort of works. But it's better than nothing. We don't want wavy bars. Okay, now here's where I'm going to have to work fast. Let's see, we'll slide this over here. When I'm working with a fragrance oil that I've never used before, this is a different Dragon's Blood than what I was using before. We were using the Dragon's Blood from Bulk Apothecary, which I liked. It has a very nice fragrance to it. But we can no longer use them because we're Leaping Bunny certified, and they refuse to sign the forms saying that there's no animal testing. So we had to switch to the Nurture Soap version. So I've never used this fragrance oil, and because I've never used it, I like to be a little careful. See, because like here's the white already getting thick, right? It's just titanium dioxide, but that does tend to thicken the batter already. And then the silver has just a little bit of titanium, and it's still pretty liquid. So I'm going to quickly add the fragrance oil, stir it in. I'll do in the pot swirl. In other words, I will just pour these other colors into here, and then we'll pour it in the mold. So we'll pour the blue over here, silver, and the white over here. You can already see it's kind of sitting, not really wanting to mix in. And in we go. Now I'm just going to scrape out my containers real quick. The Dragon's Blood has been really one of our best sellers. Men and women both tend to like it. It's got patchouli. It's really warm. I've always hated the smell of patchouli, but I don't know if it's because, you know, it's old connotations because of my age, and you know, used to be people would wear it to cover body odor because they were traveling or whatever, and then of course people who were trying to hide the smell of marijuana. So in my mind, I associated a lot with that. It was always very overpowering because that's all you could smell is just patchouli. But this, the Dragon's Blood mix, is nice because you've got other notes in there, like the cedar wood. I can kind of pick up hints of vanilla, and it really takes that patchouli down to a very warm, inviting, very nice smell. So I really love the Dragon's Blood mix, and I think that's why it's so popular for our customers too, is because you get that nice warm patchouli smell mixed in with the other woody, very natural smells without, you know, letting those patchouli notes come out. I'm rambling. But lets those patchouli notes come out in a very nice, pleasant way instead of overpowering. Now I'm going to tap this down real quick. And then, where are my skewers here? And then I just take a skewer. Now this is not really complicated. It's just to kind of mix these colors in on the top so the top of the bar looks nice and interesting. That's it. And then we need to give this a spritz with some alcohol. Now the rubbing alcohol, if you've never made soap, the reason we spray that on there is because there's a natural substance that will come to the top as the soap heats up called soda ash. It's completely harmless, but adding that nice layer of rubbing alcohol will help kind of seal it up and it'll prevent that soda ash from happening. Some fragrance oils will actually warm up and get hotter or make the batter get hotter, and it makes soda ash worse. I'm noticing a lot with black bars, any bars that I have with activated charcoal or black mica tends to show that soda ash more. So I really make sure I spritz that heavily with the rubbing alcohol. So we will be back in a day, usually around 24 hours, to cut the soap and show the inside design. Okay, it is actually almost 2 days later. I had something go on the other day and couldn't get back to cut the soap, but we're here now, so let's get going. I'm cutting 1-inch bars. You can kind of see the black and the white and the silver. Get a little further in the loaf here and see what we've got going on. Now, cold processed soap takes a month to cure. You need to let it cure to let some of the water content evaporate, and that's what makes your bar last longer in the shower. Now this is actually safe to use probably tomorrow, but once you put it in the shower without curing it, it would just all crumble into a goopy pile of soap. Well, that's not what you want. Actually, cold processed soap, the longer you let it cure, the better for the soap. So, and let me grab a wrapped bar I can show you. Now this is the last kind of color scheme that we had. But even after we cure our soaps, when we wrap them, I used to do naked packaging, but we would do shows and I would see people with food and stuff on their hand, just kind of touching all over their face and then touching all over the soap, and it's a sanitary item, so I don't really, I wanted to protect my customers. So anyway, we do leave the ends open so that the soap can still breathe, and then also it would actually aid in further evaporation, so the longer the bars sit, the better that they are. So we figured, why not just leave the side, it's shrink wrap to protect the bar, and people can still sniff on the ends, but it's still allowed to breathe, which is good for cold processed soap. But this is the old design, which was okay, but I wasn't real wild about it. And this is the new design. The black and the silver and the white. So thanks for watching the video.